The whole concept of ERM it's a discipline that does affect and address the full spectrum of an organization's risks, which includes both challenges and opportunities, and integrates them into an enterprise-wide and strategically aligned portfolio. And when using ERM, effectively, it contributes to improved decision-making, and it also can support the achievement of an organization's mission, goals, and objectives. And, as you can see on this slide, the whole concept is to create a structure that will get the right information to the right people at the right time to help them make better decisions.
So business model risks really challenge the ability of an institution to generate that revenue. These risk factors can impact the sustainability and obviously the relevance of an institution when it comes to education delivery model, revenue generation, or enrollment. Institutions that do not plan for these risks may find themselves in an increasingly challenging position relative to more agile competitors. The first one is tuition dependency. Some schools that are dependent on income from tuition from students to sustain cash flow operations are heavily obviously dependent on those students that continue to come. And where schools that have tuition being the primary source of revenue, there's growing concerns that as students' priorities shift and rising cost of education, where students may be looking elsewhere or to spend their time, the school may be at odds in terms of operations going forward. And then there's also a school of thought in terms of diversifying revenue and looking at new revenue streams. So looking to be a more sustainable institution. And then the second one is education delivery mix. And there's a trend here that follows a lot of these declining, a lot of the declining enrollment, and that these in-person programs and what institutions would need to do to deliver that kind of education relative to delivering a alternative delivery model, such as a hybrid model or online. There are certain risks associated with each of those, and as a university shifts from more in-person to a hybrid or online delivery model, there are certainly risks that are related to that transition and the quality of material and the type of education that's being delivered. So a university should be thoughtful when they're making that transition as well. Reputations are all about trust, and the more trusted the reputation, the more fragile it is and susceptible to threats and disruptions. So when you lose it, and their studies have shown that it can take up to 2 years or longer to actually recover from that. So institutions with reputational awareness and control over their presence within the media can sustain some of the damage that they've spent years building if an event is to occur. Your operating model risks really stem from ineffective or inefficient processes, people, systems, governance, culture, really that come together to impact an institution's ability to function efficiently and effectively. With the regulatory landscape being increasingly more complex, adherence to compliance and allocating the appropriate resources really is critical, because the risk of being non-compliant can hit a lot of other risk factors that we had spoke of earlier, whether it's reputational risk, whether it's ultimately the business model, depending on how bad the regulatory or the compliance impact is. And so when you think about compliance, think about the cost of compliance. And that's a lot of times what we talk to clients about, is putting the appropriate resources in there to make sure that you are meeting the compliance requirements. And universities to be prepared to meet their needs when it comes to well-being and mental health.